The Earnestly Speaking podcast is a show that is founded on free-flowing conversation and may at times venture into mature subjects. Listener discretion is advised.
Yeah, Earnestly Speaking podcast. Let's get it. I'm a giant in New York, in Miami carry heat. So much more in store, my product can flood the street. Opinion Nation Godfather, CEO. Puff in the late 90s, gon' see me blow. Oh, got my hustle on, no imitation of that. Army of untouchables, Opinion Nation staff. Never an off season, homie, check the numbers. Heart throbbing my own right, supplying southern comfort. Earnestly speaking, my ego is well fed. Earnestly speaking, you're too feeble and no threat. See, I'm like a hurricane, you're a mild breeze. Earnestly speaking, leaving Eli a dynasty.
Earnestly podcast coming to you December. We're recording this December 13th, 2023, but I'm dropping this on December 14th. And as you can see here, normally it's been a long time since I've done a solo podcast here on this feed. And this is the first time doing video in quite a while solo as well. But we are going to be doing that moving forward, more solo episodes moving forward on this feed. Hi guys, for the record. Today's episode is called "Sometimes Really Hard to Go Solo" because I've actually had a hard time doing solo episodes because I've been, to be honest, and I'm blessed for this, for the record, because I have a lot of people, a lot of friends, people in the media, people I deem important to me to talk to, that I ask them on the podcast to have conversations with, or people that I need on the show to talk about certain things. I also have the usual rotation, especially during this time of year with football. With Kyle Nass doing the game report every Tuesday. My buddy, my really good friend Zach and I go back and forth on the picks of the week and best bets and stuff. So we have the rotation of that. So what's happened is that sometimes you book all these shows. I booked so many shows a week in the last couple of weeks that I mean burnout plays a factor, number one, but there's no time. Sometimes I just don't have time to do a solo podcast, and the times I would probably do it, it would take away from my time with my family, first off. And you want to do things you love and passionate about, but at the same time you need to be very careful and make sure you're balancing that, because make sure that family still comes first. My kids, my wife come first before anything else. Although they are very supportive of what I do, and I'm very appreciative of what they do and how the energy they give me to continue pushing to do the things I love and provide for them, especially too. Before we get to the show, though, we got a lot of things to talk about on the show today. But first off, I say this all the time on the podcast, but it bears repeating, and I'm probably gonna keep doing this every time we do a show. So whatever. YouTube page at youtube.com/@Earnest Christian. Please subscribe there. We are, as of right now, I think 10 subscribers away from 300. No, that's not really a big deal, because I see people who I know are in the high hundreds and thousands and stuff, and that's fine. And I want to be there one day. But I've never actually pushed the YouTube stuff heavily until recently. And I want to get this. I would like to get this podcast over 300 subscribers by the time we get to Christmas. I would love to get to 500 by the time we get to February, March. We'll see what happens there. But if you know anybody, share the show, share the podcast, share the YouTube page. We are all on all platforms: Spotify, Stitcher Radio, Google. Well, not Stitcher Radio. Stitcher's out of business now, actually, so I can't say anymore. Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Google Podcasts. I think is going under too. Also, I've heard. I think maybe it's a misnomer. I don't know. But please spread the love. Spread the love here. We appreciate it. Appreciate all your support. Every subscriber, every single one of you guys. I really appreciate you guys. Just being interested. Also, I'm on TikTok as well too. We do TikTok videos too. Basically TikTok videos I do in there is I just take clips of the show, shorter clips of the show, and put out there. We're doing pretty decent on there as well too. I'm on TikTok at Earnest Christian as well too. But yeah, so that's what I have going on here. I'm really excited about the Christmas season too, especially. It's funny being a dad. I have a 10-year-old, 6-year-old. It really gets me. Like as a kid, you love Christmas, of course. And so it's just a tin lights here. You love Christmas as a kid growing up, and then for me, it was that way for me as well too. And then as I got older and became an adult, Christmas was one of those things where, like, yeah, it's there, I like it, but it's not like priority number one for me. And then I became a father 10 years ago. And when I became a father 10 years ago, um, Christmas became a priority one for me because of my kids. And now I'm enjoying it. And maybe it's me getting older now. I've become a lot more sappy as I got older. Like I actually start crying more. I started having, a little more fuzzies and stuff, growing up, as I get older. I don't know what it is. Maybe, I don't know, maybe my vulnerabilities now that I've held back for years, it's starting to come out now. I'm 44 years old. I don't know, 43 years old rather, turning 44 in May for the record. But Christmas, like I get into the spirit now, like especially since COVID, when the pandemic happened, and when people started putting up their decorations in November, and after Halloween, and people was like, oh, that's too early. Nah, I'm not that guy anymore, man. I used to be that guy, not anymore. You want to put up November 1st? I'm all right with that. I listen to Christmas music all the time now in the house. The tree's up in the house now for us, and we have decorations in the house and all that. I'm enjoying it. I'm into it because like I said, it's a time of giving and a time of family and unity and all that stuff. And I truly enjoy it now, in a way that I've never have. I mean, probably even a child, but as a child, you look at it from different perspective. As an adult, like seeing my kids happy and my nephews and nieces happy and all that, and that gets me going. That's the things that get me going today, is seeing others happy, and my wife happy, and get up in the morning, watching the parades during the holiday season, Thanksgiving, Christmas, the whole nine. So yeah, I'm that dude now. I'm that guy that it's heavily into the season, and I'm taking every day with it. In my family too. Also, in addition to the holidays, we have a lot of birthdays and anniversaries and all this stuff that go on around this time of year for us. So for me personally, it's a very hectic time of year for us too. My dad's birthday and my brothers, my nephews, and all this stuff. They all have all stuff going on throughout this time of year. So it's a time for joy, and all that. So I really try to embrace that much as I can, especially as I get older, you start appreciating life as is, um which is good now because I've been dealing with a lot of like a touch of depression lately, um and I know what it stems from, honestly. Like a little bit of burnout too also. And I think this podcast has been one of the things that's kept me sane. Obviously my family kept me sane, but between work and life, um obviously missing my brother's wedding in Curacao last week was hard on me. I mean, I spoke on the podcast that even when I had made a decision back in August and that I couldn't go, it was still tough, but I didn't think it'd be I didn't think it'd be as hard as I thought it would be. And then leading up to the wedding, you know, I had to mute my phone because we have a group text with my family, and they're all out there. My entire family went out there but me. And I had to mute my phone for a couple of days because I was so, just so sad that I couldn't be there. I felt so. I mean, look, and I know he said that he understood, and he understood why. And we have personal reasons why that I couldn't make the wedding. It had a lot to do with a lot of financial stuff and health stuff also with me too. Also, that kind of impacted that as well too. But you know, the thing that always got me was this. When I would go and see pictures of my of my nephew and all my siblings and stuff, and out there having a good time, and I'm glad they did. They deserve it. But to me, not to be there in that moment, it gutted me. It was tough. It was really tough. Um, and leading up to it, and then culminating with the wedding last week was really tough for me. But you have to deal with the decisions you make, and you have to you deal with it, and then you move forward. And so it's been a rough time. And then burnout too, doing the podcast, and sometimes I go aboard, because I'm doing this show. I have my wrestling retrospective podcast I've been doing. It's been doing very well, actually, for record too. Getting a lot of views on that one, especially too. So you guys can check it out also too on YouTube page as well, and on any podcast catcher. We got more products coming out in the new year too as well too. So look out for that. But and in work, of course, day job. You still have the day job. You still have things here at home we're dealing with now with the kids. My oldest son's been having some issues with school and whatnot, and we're working through that. So it's been a lot of stuff, and I'll be honest with you, like I've slidden a little bit in my my health journey. Like you guys remember, I started this year, and I told you guys that I was a type 2 diabetic, and I had started eating much better. I lost a bunch of weight, and I was getting way more focused on my health and getting better, with the physical issues in my neck and all the other things, and trying to get back to where I need to be. And I've slipped a little bit in the last couple months, and I know the stuff that I explained to you a little while ago about missing the wedding and other things I'm dealing with here at home. Have added to that. Have added to the issues that I've been dealing with recently. But you still at the same time we got to push forward and try to get through it. And I'm getting through it now. I'm really working hard to get through it now. But yeah, that was another thing too. Also, so I'm now trying to get remotivated, refocused, and all this stuff. Which is why I'm actually considering doing a carnivore diet, because one of the things I've been having an issue with is eating. I've been saying on this podcast that I've been doing much better. I was doing better health wise for a good part of 2023 after my initial diagnosis. One of the things I struggle with is carbs and eating and certain sides I eat and stuff. And I'm learning a lot about things that you can and can't eat and what you could eat, and things. There's a lot of things I'm undoing, learning and unlearning. And the carnivore diet is something I'm really interested in looking into, because you're taught that red meat's bad and too much of this is bad, when in fact I'm learning that red meat is actually pretty good for you, because actually the protein is actually is really good for you. We're actually be doing a lot of stuff on this podcast start next year in relative to health. I got a good friend of mine that has been on a show many times before in the past, but we're going to do a couple of series and conversations about health and kind of breaking through myths of things that are true and untrue about what you can put in your body and what you could put in your body, and what's actually good for you and what's bad for you. But one of the things I'm looking to is doing a carnivore diet. I still intermittent fast, which is good. That's probably been my saving grace, to be honest with you, is intermittent fasting, because at the very least, if I'm eating bad, at least I'm limiting myself to not putting in stuff in my system beyond a certain point. Like the more bad shit put in your system, the worse. So at the very least, I still try to eat no more than outside of 8 hour variants. I've been, there's a point, I think October, I was eating one meal a day and fasting 20 plus hours a day. And I'd like to get back to that at some point. It's tough, obviously. But like I said, Rome wasn't built one day. This is the process. I'm undoing 40 plus years of stuff that, again, I was not aware of, and now I'm learning on the fly. And to undo that, and the mental part of this too, it's tough. My wife has been my rock, though. She's been crushing it health wise. She's down 35, 40 pounds now. She's eating clean and all this stuff, and she's on my ass about this stuff. That's tough now, because I'm trying to be there for her, and I'm trying to, one of her fears is me dying early while the kids are still young, and she wants me to be there, and and she's motivating me to stick with it, and it's tough. It's really hard, but this, and that's the things I do go through every day, and the mental part of it's hard for me. It really is. But yeah, I'll keep you guys posted with that. But like I said, we got a lot of cool things coming in 2023 and 2024 on the show that I want to touch on. I remember saying that the health, I want to talk more health in the show, and I really haven't done much of that. I think that's one thing this year. I think if anything I dropped the ball on was like more health related podcasts, conversations, and I want to do more of that in 2024. I'm making that a massive goal. And like I said, my friend and I are working on some ideas in the new year to have like a little bit of like a couple episodes where we talk about health and again undoing certain myths and stuff, because he's been someone that's really motivated me in the last year or two, and got me helped me with certain things, what I can and can't eat and this and that, because he himself has made a massive turnaround, a drastic change in his health for the last couple of years. So we'll touch on that, of course. All right, a couple of things we'll touch on here. It's been about 5 days since the end of the NBA what is this? Oh, look at that. Sorry, NBA in-season tournament. But yeah, it's over. Lakers won the in-season tournament, and I think the in-season tournament's been a success. Now, granted, the in-season tournament was never targeted for people like me. I am a hardcore NBA fan, so the whole purpose of the in-season tournament was to bring in casual fans who don't necessarily watch NBA basketball 99 out, especially don't watch NBA basketball in October, November, December when football's still going on. They don't get engaged to probably Christmas. That's typically is where everything is pretty much the starting point for a casual fan. But when they announced this thing, last year, this idea last year, I was concerned because like I was wondering if this thing would take away from the regular season. That was my first thing. Will this tournament interrupt the flow of the regular season? And thankfully, it did not do that. Like the way it was structured, like I still don't know how. I still, after reading the rules so many times, don't know what's what. Like what were the rules and this, what qualifies this and that. I read the rules a couple times. I still didn't get it because to me, I'm stuck in my ways. I like my 82 game sample. You play your games. Best 8 teams go to playoffs, top 6. They'll play in all that stuff. I'm with that. And he had this wrinkle to the season. Now I was like, okay, well, will this disrupt my flow of the season? And thankfully, it didn't do that. Like they only did the in-season tournament games, on was it Tuesday and Fridays, and then it was certain days a week, and you knew that game those games are different because of the color. If it was an in-season tournament game, for example, the court be colored up and stuff. Which by the way, they have to go away from that. The color schemes on the court, honestly, while some were pretty cool, it took away. It was very visually distracting, honestly, for the game. But it did its job. The ratings were good. They garner more interest in the league from people who would not watch the product as much at this point in the year. So it did its job. And do I want to come back next year? Sure. But for me, again, this is not marketed towards me. I'm an NBA guy. I want the NBA to flourish. I want the NBA to be the best league ever. But at the same time, as long as it doesn't disrupt my flow of the season, I'm good. Have it. So, and people will say, "Oh, LeBron won." Some people, a lot of LeBron James detractors, like, "Oh, well, LeBron won. It's not real ring," and this is some stupid tournament. You don't think that Kobe Bryant was alive playing? You don't think if the tournament actually existed when Kobe Bryant played or Michael Jordan played back in his heyday, that they want to take this shit seriously? Come on now. The ultimate competitors in history of this game, if this would have existed, would have taken this stuff seriously. Because they took game 82 or game 13 seriously too. You don't think they'll take this seriously also too? Come on now. So, like I said, I like it for the fact that it brings in the casuals. It wasn't marketed towards me, and that's fine. You know what I'm saying? So that's just that. I'm okay with this. The success of the tournament was good. I'm okay with it, and that's it. What else? I was going to talk on Draymond Green, but I actually touched on that on the last episode with Zach, so probably don't need to. But the Draymond Green thing, of course, like I said, suspended indefinitely. We'll see how the details of that going forward. As I said in the last episode of the podcast, Easy Regenerate with me and Zach. This is, why not touch on some couple things here on the show? This is where the suspension is an issue for me, and with Draymond Green, obviously fantastic player, in my opinion, Hall of Fame player. The numbers won't say anything, but his impact on the Warriors, his importance on the Warriors cannot be quantified by just the numbers. But the Warriors dynasty is in jeopardy right now. And the Warriors dynasty was in jeopardy even before we started this season. I said before the year started that the Warriors did not feel like a title contender. And then the year started, and it did not feel like a title contender. Had a couple good games here and there. And then Draymond suspended 5 games for the choke job on Rudy Gobert. They struggled while he's gone. He comes back, they play a little better here and there, whatever. And now the situation where he flails and he hits Yusuf Nurkic in the face, getting tied up with him, of course. And he's out indefinitely. And they made the right call. Because even if he says that he didn't mean to do that, here's the problem, Draymond. Even if I want to believe you, and I probably do believe you, you long lost the benefit of the doubt. You've long lost the benefit of the doubt because you've done so many shady things on the court through the years. This year alone, you've been ejected. You've been ejected out of 3 games this year alone. You know what I'm saying? So you lost benefit of the doubt there. And on top of that, you're hurting your team. Your team needs you. You're actually having a really good year this season when you're on the court. This is the worst part. Your team needs you right now. As recording, and I have to check it again, make sure I'm right. But the Warriors right now are, I think, number 11 in the Western Conference right now in the standings, which means right now, and granted, we are way too early in the year to be talking about this right now, but if the playoffs started today, the Warriors, the number 11, the 10-13 right now, lost 2 in a row. Playoffs started today, they are not in the playoffs. In fact, right now, they are 3 games behind for the 10th seed in the playing situation. Okay, with the Pelicans. Okay. And the Suns as well. And the Clippers. Okay. And that's before you lose Draymond Green. And not having Draymond Green is going to hurt you. So you might actually fall even further in the standings now as a result. Klay Thompson's not having a good year on top of that. Okay? So the whole load falls on Steph Curry again. So now the Warriors are in deep trouble now. What do? Do you go after a Pascal Siakam? Do you go after some pieces here to help the team in the event Draymond is gone for, 25, 30 games or even a year? Who knows? Because it's indefinite. We don't know. This can go anywhere. This is what sucks. Is now Draymond Green is hurting his team in ways where, if the dynasty was on borrowed time or on thin ice, this actual suspension might have killed it. Because the very fact that right now you're out of the play-in, you have 3 games out of the play-in right now, and then you lose Draymond Green. What now? And by the way, right behind you in the standings is the Grizzlies. Now, granted, the Grizzlies are what? They are 6-17, so it's still far back. But they're only 4 games behind you guys. John Morant will be back in another week or two. And you got to figure that the Grizzlies, when John gets back, is going to improve a lot. So again, and this is in the Western Conference where even with Draymond, it's clear that Minnesota's better than you. Obviously, Denver's better than you, the best team in the Western Conference. I don't give a damn. They're number 4 in the West. It's still a better team. OKC's better. Dallas is probably better than you guys. The Lakers are better than you guys at this point. The Kings, in my opinion, are better than you guys. Okay? The Clippers, for all their issues, even though they won 5 in a row now, are probably still better than you guys right now. The Suns are better than you guys. So what are we doing here? So we are seeing the end of the Warriors dynasty. In fact, you can make the argument right now that last night ended the Warriors dynasty. You can make a real argument now that last night ended the Warriors dynasty because of Draymond's punch. Because what they need Draymond on the court. They need him. So if I'm the Warriors, I'm right now looking to make a move now, ASAP, to bolster the roster while Draymond's out. And unless Klay and Steph turn it on immediately, this season's done. And Klay Thompson's a free agent in July. And he wants to get paid a lot of money. And the Warriors are probably not going to do that because he hasn't played well this year. So he hasn't played to the standard of what he's shown. Again, and I mentioned I said this on the last podcast with Zach. Dynasties never end pretty. Look at every dynasty we've had in the NBA for the course of the last forever. I mean, really. I think the only one I can think of that really ended somewhat clean was the early Celtics in the 60s and 70s. And that only because guys were tired. Lakers dynasty didn't end that pretty. Pat Riley and Magic Johnson had that little infighting at the end. Pat Riley ended up retiring. The Bulls dynasty, the 90s didn't end well. You see that documentary on The Last Dance. All documented between Jerry Krause and Michael Jordan and all their issues with Phil Jackson, all that. Kobe Shaq. Come on now. This Warriors dynasty is included in that. It never ends pretty. It never does. So, and this one is going the same route. They're getting older. They're getting younger. The pieces that we thought would be good or provide stewardship, to bolster, to help secure the core of Klay, Steph, and Draymond, not producing. Andrew Wiggins has been average the last year and a half. Kuminga, not good. All these pieces they had around them, not good. So, Draymond, not helping. He's now a detriment to the Warriors now going forward. And that's sad. Very sad. The other big story this week we missed, Shohei Ohtani signed with the Dodgers, 10 years, $700 million. No surprise. I mean, this is a podcast. You know this already. I called it a year ago that Ohtani's going to the Dodgers. And it's pretty simple because any team he was going to was going to be on the West Coast. He stays with the Angels, goes to the Dodgers, maybe the Giants, maybe the Mariners. Maybe Mariners was like a little bit of a long shot, but yeah, maybe one of those West Coast teams. No surprise there. You saw a report though too that came out I think a day ago, 2 days ago, that he's deferring. So he's getting paid $70 million every year. he's deferring $68 million of each year in his contract to the back end of his deal, where they'll probably pay him, I think, after the deal's over, which I think is, I guess, genius in some ways. I mean, it looks criminal to do that. Why would you do that? And there's some tax things to go around that too. Also, because obviously California's taxes is through the roof, which is again ridiculous. I love California, but come on, guys, get that shit together, man. It's ridiculous. But you know, I'm hearing now people like saying, "Well, Ohtani reset the market now, where players are going to ask that kind of money." No, it's not going to happen. You know why? Shohei Ohtani is a anomaly. Okay, this is a guy that is an elite pitcher and elite hitter. Now, unfortunately for Ohtani, the word is he won't be pitching next year due to injuries. And who's to say he won't pitch ever again? You know, which then begs the question: is he really worth that kind of money? The Dodgers think so, and here's why the Dodgers think so: because of marketing dollars. Because of marketing dollars, not just in the United States, but also marketing dollars in Japan. They'll make that money up in merchandise in Japan as well too, because Ohtani is a massive name outside his country. You know what I'm saying? So that's why the deal makes sense, because of the marketing. This is solely a marketing move. I heard someone say that Juan Soto's going to ask for that kind of money. Juan Soto isn't. I don't even know if Juan Soto's worth $300 million. Honestly, God is kept. I don't think no player's worth that kind of money on the field. The only reason Ohtani's getting that kind of money is because of marketing. That is it. So unless Juan Soto has a massive market outside this country, ain't happening. You know, because take away Ohtani's ability to pitch. Is he more special than Aaron Judge? Is he more special than Mike Trout as a hitter? And it's not to say he's not a special player or hitter, but in comparison, you know, he's getting paid $300 some million more than Aaron Judge got paid. Is he that much better of a hitter than Aaron Judge? He's not. He got paid for the marketing and because of the fact he plays both sides of the diamond. So kudos to him. Listen, you know your market, and if the Dodgers want to pay that kind of money, so be it. So be it. Are they the World Series favorites now? I guess they're always good anyway. The Dodgers are always in the conversation every year. They win the NL West every single season, and then they melt down late. Will this help them over the hump? Maybe they still need pitching. I mean, and the fact they defer the salary creates a space for them to get the pitching now. So to be fair, Ohtani has provided some space for the Dodgers to at least build around him. So at least the team optics are actually positive. But we shall see. Because again, you still gotta play the games, right? Still gotta play the games. What else on the list here? Things to talk about. Oh, something I got to mention. Now, this bill passed actually a couple years ago, but officially last week, the state of Florida, where I live in, state of Florida, legalized gambling. Which means I'm able to gamble without having to worry about overseas stuff. Like I used to gamble on Bovada and other like random like sites, that exist throughout the country, or offshore sites. But now, being able to legally gamble in the state of Florida, I no longer have to go through any red tape anymore, which is fantastic. Now, let's be clear. And I know people, I know like on different shows and stuff and conversations we have with friends in our orbit, we talk about, I'm a degenerate. I'm a big degenerate. I'm a casual gambler. And much as I talk about gambling on especially on this podcast where I do the EJ Christian Degenerate every week during football season, I gamble football pretty much. I love gambling on football. I barely gamble on basketball, and when I do gamble on basketball, I rather do price picks, which is prop bets. I don't like gambling on games on basketball. The NBA is too damn volatile. I'd rather bet the over-under as opposed to the spread. So I'll go on price picks and bet prop bets on that. But I did take a few hits the last couple of weeks gambling on at the Hard Rock, for example, here locally in South Florida. And it's amazing because so for example, like with Bovada, like for you, say you're a guy coming in and you want to gamble, you have to put in a minimum of $25 just to have an account to start gambling on games. Okay, plus tax and all that stuff. With the Hard Rock, with the gambling here in Florida, you can just put in $1 in the account and gamble $1 and still you can make money on that and make $2 or $3, $4. I mean, I'm not saying to do that. I'm not saying you could do that. The best part about this to me also too is that so this is what I did because I tested it out. So the first night I got cleared to start putting wagers in, I bet not this past Monday football game, the one last week, Jaguars and Bengals. I did a quick little bet, 1 game bet. I bet the Bengals plus 8.5 against the Jaguars. And the idea of me was betting that 1 game. I wanted to see if I won the bet, how long would it take to withdraw money? If I wanted to withdraw money immediately to my bank account, because I linked to my bank account. And I won the bet. The Bengals actually won the game, only covered the spread. They won the game. So then I decided to withdraw my winnings immediately. And within the hours in my bank account. You know, when I used to do it with Bovada and other sites, you had to go through a lot more, different, ways of getting money. You had to do a wire transfer, all this bull crap, a Bitcoin this and all this crap. And it's annoying. The ability now to be able to cash out in my bank account now is amazing. It's a game changer. Now, a lot of people have opinions about gambling in general. I know I have family members of mine who are completely against it, and I get it. That's fine. I think this is good for the economy in Florida. I think, there are people like myself who are casual gamblers and know how to control themselves. I've been doing this for years, and I've never gotten into debt based on gambling. Hell, dude, I only bet I bet parlays. I bet $5 parlays. So if I lose a parlay, if I bet a $5 parlay to make $60 and I lose that, okay, I bet I lost $5. I'm not gonna go home crying about that. That's the first of my gambling I'm doing. I don't go for broke and put my mortgage on the line and all this bullshit. I don't do all that crap. I've always been a relatively conservative gambler. And to be honest, I don't even know if I call myself a gambler. Honestly, I like to have fun and make wagers, and I really, to be honest, and all my friends know this too. I pretty much gamble probably 4 months of the year because by the time football's over in January, February, I'm not. Again, I don't gamble on basketball. This is like prop bets, and even that's rare. So I'm very casual on it. So, but still, that being said, having this, here, having this now with in the state of Florida and having the ability to do that and to make money quickly and all that stuff, and it's good. It's great for the economy. So I'm not complaining about it. It's good stuff. So I'm happy about it. So, all right. One last thing we got out here. One last thing. And again, really appreciate you guys listening to the podcast, watching, subscribing on the YouTube, subscribing to the podcast on any podcast catcher. Please continue to do that. And we'll be doing more video episodes, of course, moving forward, especially the solo episodes too, especially too. What I've been watching as of late, I've actually in the last week, with amidst all the stuff I'm doing here, I've actually sat down a couple of days and took in some content actually. So what I watch, I watched 3 documentaries in the last couple of days. Obviously I watched the new Michael Jackson documentary, Thriller 40, which is actually a year late. I thought it was a solid documentary. I thought it was a little disorganized on it. I give it a 7 out of 10 on that documentary. I thought the footage was great. I thought the behind the scenes footage was great. But I thought it was very disorganized. I thought the documentary was a little disorganized in terms of what the storytelling. I thought it was a little more chaotic in that, but otherwise the footage was great. And I thought they got the real sense of Thriller and the impact of that album, why that album is it is the biggest selling album of all time. And the impact of that record. So that was a good documentary. I gave it 7 out of 10. I personally, and look, I know Nelson George, who's a big music critic, did that documentary. I'm a big fan of his and he's of him as a writer too, especially. But Spike Lee, posthumous Michael Jackson posthumously directed the Off the Wall documentary for Motown Off the Wall, and also did the Bad 25 documentary back in 2012. Spike Lee captured Michael Jackson's essence on those docs better than anyone else has ever done it. Not saying Nelson George didn't do a good job. He did a good job. But Spike Lee, because Spike Lee also knew Michael and actually worked with him too also. He did, the They Don't Care About Us video with him in 96. I feel like there was a lot more, genuine, we want to call that. There's a lot more connection to Michael with Spike Lee. Nelson George, a little bit, some degree, but again, it felt a little disorganized. So that's what that one's definitely. I watched that one. That's on Paramount Plus, Showtime. Want to call that? Check it out, of course. I also watched the Barry Sanders documentary on Amazon, Bye Bye Barry, which covered his career, obviously, but also covered the sudden retirement in 1999. He finally reveals why he did it. All the stories behind that, having his kids there, of course. It was a really good documentary. I enjoyed it. I watched it on Sunday. And then a few weeks before that, on Disney Plus, National Geographic, but under Disney Plus umbrella, I actually watched the JFK, John F. Kennedy assassination documentary, 3-part documentary that came out last month. That was a really good documentary. It took you in real time the mood and how it felt in 1963 when he got shot, and the stuff leading up to that, the stories and everything that happened after the documentary, line by line, time by time, and all that. It was really good stuff. It goes through that. It goes through the killing of Jack Ruby and, all that stuff. It's really fascinating stuff. 3-part documentary is really good. Again, the footage was fantastic. It was actually very insightful. A lot of things I already knew, but also the things I learned also as well too. I did think they could have went a little deeper. They didn't dive into the conspiracies. They touched a little bit, like some of the conspiracies out there, but they didn't really dive into it. But I thought the documentary surface level was actually pretty good. So that one also too I watched as well too. So check out that one as well too. So anyway, that's it for me. Again, I am on Twitter/X at EJ Christian 7. Guys, check out my YouTube page, of course, at youtube.com/@Earnest Christian. Earnestly, a podcast called Off Catchers. Check out all the podcasts I do. Also, I do this show. I have the Earnestly Unfiltered podcast, which is more topic centric, which is also on YouTube as well too. And I also have my wrestling retro podcast called the Wrestling Retrospective, which is doing very well actually too. Also, I've done a show there about a week and a half. I'm trying to do one more before the year's over. And I got an announcement on another podcast coming up next year, early next year, which I'll be announcing probably in January. So until then, we will talk soon and enjoy the rest of your day. And we will talk soon. Love you guys. Take care and see ya. Thank you.